Great, and seeing as how we have a quorum and it's 4 o'clock, we'll go ahead and call the February 22nd meeting of the Lynchburg Historic Preservation Commission to order. Any attendees that will be joining us today, if you just please state your name and address for the record when we call upon your property. We can discuss the COA as they come forward. So the first item we have on the agenda, of course, is to approve the consent agenda from the previous meeting, which would have been from January. Do I hear a motion to approve as submitted?
So moved.
Is there a second on that?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Great, we'll show that that has been approved, and we can immediately move on into the action items that we have. The first one we're dealing with today is 2306 Rivermont Avenue. Again, if the applicant could please state your name and address for the record and give us a brief rundown of the nature of the COA, and then we'll discuss after that.
Hi there, Richard Spears of 2306 Rivermont Avenue. We've got an outside structure, which is a garage that we're looking to demolish. Sandra came over last week, I believe, last Monday, week before, and viewed the structure, and we were told it's possibly not contributing to anything to the historic district.
Excellent. So just looking for a straight demolition request, then no, nothing to be done in that area, putting anything new or anything like that.
I'm not sure yet whether we're gonna what we're gonna do with the structure itself. I've had someone to come out and look at the demolition, and they're going to take up the concrete, so we may just put just grass lawn there. But the main part about it is the safety of it. I think it was originally built just by the breeze blocks. I think it was originally built in the 50s or the 60s.
Okay. Excellent.
We've got breeze blocks as foundations for it, so.
Sure. Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Spears. It seems pretty straightforward there. Any commissioners like to make a motion regarding the COA?
I'd like to move that the COA be approved.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Any further questions, comments, or concerns regarding the specifics to this?
I don't know if anybody has any questions, but this building was not identified as contributing when the district created, and there is much of it that is not original, probably over half of it. And if you wonder what breeze blocks are, they're blocks. Blocks. So, but the building is in terrible shape, and it is dangerous.
Understood. We thank you for that outlining of the conditions, so we appreciate it. So we have a first and second. Any other questions regarding this one? Here's none. We can go ahead and call for a roll call vote. I'll wait till Victoria comes back on this.
All right. Thank you. Commissioner Aguiaga?
Aye.
Commissioner Horner?
Aye.
Commissioner Langseth?
Aye.
Commissioner McSwain?
Aye.
Commissioner Morris?
Aye.
Commissioner Spencer Hester?
Aye.
Okay, great. Mr. Spears? thank you so very much for your time today, and best of luck, and be careful.
All right, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it.
Indeed. Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right, we can move right along to 611 Pearl Street. If there's a representative available, please state your name and address for the record and the nature of the COA as submitted.
Yeah, hey there. This is Victoria Bartholomew. I'm here representing the owner of 611 Pearl Street, who is Janice Fowler. My personal address is 1302 Madison Street, Lynchburg, Virginia 24504. I am here for my least favorite reason for visiting the HPC. I am the listing agent on this house, and I'm also actually the buyer's agent. After home inspection, it became very apparent. We actually had a contract fall through because of this reason previously. Became very apparent that the slate roof on at least 3 sides of the home has likely met its life expectancy and is now very damaged, and it's very sad. The back roof of the house, the back side, I think at some point potentially was replaced with Buckingham slate, but I mean a long time ago. The 3 sides that are quote unquote visible from the street, which is debatable, honestly, are, I believe, Vermont slate, and you can see there have been infinite repairs on this over time, and there's just a lot of damage that is causing some water damage on the interior of the home. The new buyers are looking to do a significant restoration of this house, which is really exciting for the neighborhood, but of course you can't start a restoration if your roof is not in good shape. They are not in a position where they, have over $100,000 to invest in a roof. In a new slate roof. I think none of us do. And so they're coming to you with the proposition to replace with an asphalt shingle roof, which I know is not ideal for anyone. Luckily, this roof is barely visible from the ground, and the lower roofs at some point were replaced with asphalt shingle. And so that's a good, I guess, summary starting off point as to what I'm coming here for.
Okay. Thank you. It's good to see you again.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Any commissioners like to take a run at this one as far as making a motion?
Is there as far as making a motion? No, but I got questions.
Okay. Go ahead.
I have a question too.
Sure.
Go ahead, Chandra, I'll let you go first.
Okay. My question is that the guidelines that we follow clearly say that an asbestos roof is not permitted to replace the slate roofs.
So,
You mean asphalt?
Asphalt.
well, so I was going to say, so the issue then we're going to come to is if you all remember, it was a year and a half ago, this very similar thing happened on my personal home at 1302 Madison Street, where there had been significant damage to the slate roof that then somebody had tarred over. And so essentially what had happened is it was, more than half of the roof was going to have to be removed and replaced. And that was, I mean, I don't think anyone financially has the ability to do that. And so it was the conclusion of the HPC that because the roof was not architecturally significant as many slate roofs in the neighborhood, that it would be acceptable because there was limited views from the street, that the asphalt shingle would be okay in this scenario because of this specific situation, which is why I pointed out that this is not a pattern slate roof. It has reached the end of its life expectancy, at least on those 3 sides. And it would not be the first in the neighborhood to have this happen.
Where is
But
that?
it is visible from the street, so.
Chandra, did you say it is visible?
I mean, that picture right there is from the sidewalk.
Well, yeah, but you can take pictures where you can view the roof out.
Sure.
I mean, what about across the street? I mean, unfortunately I didn't get there, but here's my question. Where is that good side of the roof?
It's on the back, unfortunately. The possibility is there that side could remain, because that side obviously is Buckingham slate, has a much longer life expectancy and is not as old as the rest of the house. These sellers have owned the house, I believe, since the 70s or 80s, and they did not do that slate replacement. I assume it was done many, many years ago.
Well, my recommendation, first of all, you'll go back to that last picture you just popped off there, Victoria, that one. You have all this decorative ridge capping with these little finials at the top. So number one, all those would have to be somehow reproduced. Or, I mean, you could probably reuse these, but
Right, sure.
Or put new ones, but you couldn't just put asphalt capping.
I see what you're saying. Sure.
And secondly, the black shingle that's being proposed here is really not indicative of what this slate roof looks like. And if there's only one shingle that I know of, asphalt shingle, that gives the appearance of slate. As a matter of fact, we approved this on another house on Rivermont Ave that had an asbestos roof.
Oh, interesting.
And they had to take that off, and they wanted to put metal, but we recommended to them that because every other house in that area had slate, that they used this Grand Manor by Certainty. And it, from a distance, it resembles slate. It isn't slate, obviously, but I think if in this particular case, the roof does look pretty bad. And I know All Phase, and I know that they're pretty honest, reputable roofing company. I think they're the ones that looked at this, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Or the original idea, honestly, was after the home inspection was done on this property. These are drone photos, obviously. The original intent of having All Phase out there to look at the roof was to just have some repairs done by the current seller to, kind of keep the process moving along. And then when Gary put up his ladder and also observed these drone photos, he was like, I absolutely would not work on that roof. I won't do it. It's
Robbie?
It was Gary.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think if there can be some more input here, but my take on this would be to leave the back slate on there. Grand Manor by Certainty would be an acceptable alternative if the commissioners want to approve an asphalt shingle. And we would have to keep the decorative caps, the ridge caps, and the top finials.
Victoria, have they looked
When
at
I
the
say keep-
faux slate or synthetic slate?
Yeah, so I looked into that for my own home when we were discussing this like a year and a half ago, and it was close to 3 times as expensive, and that's why we were talking about for an asphalt shingle roof of this size, you're looking at about $15,000, and I think it was closer to $45,000 to have that done, and that's a significant difference. The reason that I'm coming here as opposed to Mrs. Fowler. She's of very limited means, and so this is a scenario where we're really trying to make something work, so that she's able to sell this house and the house doesn't continue to deteriorate, and can get into the hands of someone who has the ability to do this restoration, because right now we're going to have to disclose in the sale of the house a significantly damaged roof with if it had to be replaced with slate or slate-like kind, that very seriously could inhibit the sale of the house. So I know this is another one of those awkward situations, and I know at some point you all had discussed, the guidelines, and you all are limited by those, but there are obviously individual cases that are are, you have to take on one at a time. And I'm just hopeful at this point. I'm sure they are open to the color that you suggested, and I can run that. I'm not as familiar with that. I had picked that roofing color, Rick, because that was what was used on my personal property around the corner, and so they are totally open to colors and whatnot. But obviously, I needed to submit a type of material in order to give you all a sample.
What I'm suggesting is not a color; it's a shingle.
Right.
It's a specific style of shingle by certainty, and it has a shadow line to it. But since you do mention color, you would have to come back for the color. I think the color would have to be the grayish color of these shingles. The certainty, the Grand Manor has obviously different colors also.
It could be, that part could be approved administratively.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
It could
laid on the back.
Victoria, are there pictures you had mentioned, Victoria, that the neighbors had asphalt? I know when Victoria was flipping through pictures, I could see one house, but is there another house in the neighborhood that shows?
Well, no, the lower roofs on this house have shingle roofs. They're also, you can see the house directly next door. So that's the duplex. If you're facing the house directly to the right, both of those have asphalt shingle roofs directly next to it. You can see in that photo right there. Those are
what color are those? I'm sorry, Victoria. What color are those asphalt?
We're just a medium gray. Honestly, the one on the right-hand side of the duplex is honestly a light gray. So as far as the color, I think we want to stay in, coordination with the neighborhood and not necessarily make it stand out any more than it needs to, without, disrupting the actual architectural integrity of the house. I'm just in this position where I'm trying to make this happy for you all, and also a situation where they can afford to do it, or anyone can afford to do it. Because it is a substantial roof and it is very, very high up, and like you can see, it is in need of likely replacement. And just, one of the reasons, I'm here, and I hate to be the person that's like, well, on my house, but I have to say that a little bit, because at my house, I do have that exact color and style of asphalt shingles, and that is 2.5 blocks from this house that I submitted. And they are dark. They are dark. You can see on this photo right here, where you kind of have this little porch right in the middle. The roof line of the front porch kind of, arches up to that, and those are asphalt shingles. This is an asphalt shingle front roof. I don't know when that was done. I don't know if it was not HPC approved, but those are shingles, and it might be better, honestly, if those matched.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, versus one standing out more than the other. So in focusing more on the actual metal elements and keeping the rear versus a specialty type of shingle, just because if it's not slate, that's why I have a difficulty sometimes with the fake slates, is it's trying to make something historical that's not, instead of just understanding that it is a modern material on a historic home.
Well, first of all, I would say that the shingles that are on this front porch probably shouldn't even be on that front porch, because if it's a flat roof or nearly flat, you have to have, I think shingles have to have at least a 3 or 4 12 pitch on them, and that doesn't look like it has that at all.
But it is what it is. It's there right now.
Well, it's there for now, and
Yeah.
what I'm saying is it was probably metal to begin with.
Sure.
Or it could have been slate. I don't know. Anyway, anyway, I'll make a motion that the back of the house, the slate in the rear, remain as is if it is in good condition, and we can replace the roof with a shingle that more resembles slate. Even though it is a modern material, it at least play tribute to the slate. And that shingle would be Grand Manor by Certainteed, and it would have to be a color, a grayish tone that would match what is there now, and that all the decorative flashing would have to be either reproduced or the ones that are there be reused for the the hips of the roof. Hip ridge, the ridge hip. And the finials would have to be put back in place on the very top of the house. Is that the only decorative elements that this house has?
On the roof?
Yes.
I believe so.
I think those chimneys need to be capped too, don't they?
Yes.
I'll second that.
Are there any questions or comments from commissioners or from the applicant?
I guess I'm gonna need some more information on this specific material, and if maybe, I mean, I can ask the contractor if they install it, if All-Phase does. I'm not familiar with it, and I'm assuming it is an asphalt shingle.
Yeah, it's an asphalt shingle.
Okay, it's just more you're saying it's more shaped like slate?
It has a shadow line. It's probably 3 layers. It's more expensive than a normal shingle, but I mean, it's certainly nowhere near the cost of a slate roof.
Not even as expensive as a synthetic slate was. I'm trying to, it's, Rick, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's the Rubenberg house that's on Rivermont Avenue that has that, that we did this for in the past, that used that product. Is that right?
It had a asbestos roof on it, and it has 2 wings on the side. I think it's like a colonial house or something like that. It's up toward the end. And as a matter of fact, the gentleman thanked us for that because we actually saved him money. He was going to put a metal roof on it, and
Sure.
that actually saved him money.
Yeah,
In your particular case, it's not going to save you. It'll save you money with the slate, of course, but it'll be more expensive than the other one.
it is.
Tracy sent a link to the product in the meeting chat. If people didn't notice that, you can see what it looks like.
Not sure. I'm not sure. Do I have access to that chat? I don't think so. Do I? Oh yeah. Here we go. Hold on one second. I'm pulling it up here.
The house that we're talking about is, or that I was referring to, was 3101 Rivermont Avenue. So it'll be on the same side as Villa Maria if you're going away from downtown, and it's just the next house past Villa Maria. So it's what's that road that's in between?
Oh, sure. I know.
On the left, you can clearly see how that the shadow lines of that asphalt shingle roof mimic slate. So it's a really good representation. It's very, very visible. So.
So I feel like I have to be a little bit devil's advocate here. I'm having a little bit of difficulty understanding why on my personal home one material was accepted and this is 2.5 blocks over and this is not acceptable, because I think that's what my folks are going to ask me as well.
Right.
Well, I don't know that we can answer that question, but we can tell you that we just because every project or every application is its own individual application, and other projects don't set precedent over what goes on in the neighborhood. There are always different circumstances to different applications. I don't even remember the one you're talking about. I don't know if I was even on the committee back then.
Yeah, you were. Yeah. You actually, Rick, you were okay with it because you said it had minimal viewing from the street. So that's fine. We're happy to get this quoted and see essentially what it's like, and hopefully.
What kind of a shingle was approved down the street?
It's a regular asphalt shingle. It's the exact material that I sent in is submitted with this house. It's the slate gray.
Was this your house?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
So that's why I'm just a little bit surprised, because actually my house had a decorative slate on it. So it was half destroyed essentially by tar, so it wasn't salvageable. But it actually was a better roof than the one on Pearl Street.
I don't remember it, so I can't comment on it, but, this is, the one I remember is the one we did on Rivermont Ave, and that's kind of what I'm responding to. But, anyone else on the committee certainly can disagree with me. Does anyone else on this committee remember that house? I remember your house, and I remember.
And you guys.
Garage doors, but I don't remember the part of it.
No, that's 419 Washington. Sorry, I've lived in many houses. So it was actually going to be a house that I was going to renovate and resell, but I actually moved into it after all. So it's on the corner of 13th and Madison Street. It was Caesar Johnson's house for a long time.
The one that had someone wanted to paint purple shutters on it or something. Was that you?
No, oh God, no. Not me. No, it's dark green now. Anyways, regardless, I had come here because, and I was really fearful because it was a pattern slate roof, and I couldn't afford to replace half the roof with slate, let alone pattern slate. And I had suggested, honestly, leaving part of the slate roof and doing part asphalt shingle, and everyone agreed that it was better to have a uniform look. So that's why I'm trying to figure out if there is it might be very reasonably priced for this specialty Grand Manor shingle, but essentially what I'm saying is, if it's the important parts of the roof to me anyways, and as someone looking for interesting old house features, and if the slate roof is removed, the integral historical part of the roof is the ridges and caps, and the back slate roof, it wouldn't necessarily make it more historically important to put a faux looking slate on the roof. I'm not trying to be ornery, but I just want to make sure that I'm doing the best.
It's not that it's a faux looking slate. It's a shingle with depth to it, which is what is on that house now. The original slate has depth. That's why your house, I have no idea. I don't remember it, but it's neither here nor there. We're speaking about this house now, and what I'm saying is the the Grand Manor shingle has more depth to it than this particular shingle, which just looks like a black shingle. And so so that's what these houses originally had. So we're trying, if we could sit here and say, no, you got to replace it with slate.
Yeah, you could,
because that's what's in the guidelines. But we're trying to come halfway between here. So that's that's my take on what what the best solution. If you want to go with an asphalt shingle, that is the best solution as far as that's what I feel. So again, I made the motion. It can be rejected. And something else can come up. So
no, the motion has been seconded. So
It had, I'm looking at it online. It's Grand Manor shingles in slate is the actual color. There's another color that's brownstone, but that would not be appropriate in this case. But Grand Manor Gatehouse Slate by Certainteed.
Yes, that's it.
It says it's a fiberglass base. I don't know that matters, but just it's not an asphalt base.
Right. It's a multi-layered laminated shingle. Replaces the look of slate. Lifetime warranty. So that would be the information that the contractor would want going in their investigation of the material. Let's see. So anyway, we had a motion in a second. Is there anyone else have any questions, comments, or concerns they'd like to put forth on this? I guess hearing none, we call for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Iguiaga,
Aye.
Commissioner Horner,
Aye.
Commissioner Langseth,
Aye.
Commissioner McSwain,
Aye.
Commissioner Morris,
Aye.
Commissioner Spencer Hester.
Aye.
All right. Well, Ms. Bartholomew, I guess if you just, I don't know whether you're relaying the information to the owner, they're talking to all phase, or if you want to go directly.
I'll reach out to all the parties involved. So,
Okay.
Yep. Thank you all very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We appreciate it, man. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, folks, we can go on to 109 Cabell Street. There's a representative on board to state your name and address for the record.
I just admitted them. It just looks like they're on mute right now.
Oh, very good.
Hi, I'm Amy Burshik from LG Flynn General Contractors with Bob Bowen.
Welcome. Good to have you here today.
Thank you.
If you would be so kind just to provide us a rundown of the information that's in the COA.
Is Bob here? He might be on mute as well. We're proposing to add a screen porch which provides a second means of egress at the rear of the house. Right now, there is only one way out of the house. This would have a staircase from the kitchen down to the ground. There's also a chimney that is in very poor condition, and we're proposing to take that out and put the door where that chimney is currently. We're going to finish the screen and porch with paint and roofing to match existing colors and materials.
This is Bob Bowen. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I just wanted to add that this all started because I was nervous about not having a second exit in the house from the living area. And we think this is probably the most attractive way to accomplish that goal and stay within historic requirements.
Excellent.
And you can't see it from the front of the house, as you can see from the picture with the car in it. That's the front, and you wouldn't be able to see this from the front, or pretty much from at least one side of the house if there were a house where the empty lot is.
All right. Commissioners?
Well, that second part, I think you can see it because there's a side street there, and I live in this neighborhood, so you do see all sides of that house. I would say we have, I would have no problem with the egress. Obviously, if it's a safety issue, you know, I have no problem with that. I have no problem with the porch. Let's talk about these other things. The chimney, that's fine. It's a secondary chimney. I don't think that is really a contributing factor of the house. I know a lot of times those chimneys simply get in the way. I've had the same issue with older houses, and you know, it does look in terrible condition. It's not being used for anything. It was the old furnace chimney, so I have no problem with that. The gutters, what style of gutters are you using? Do you know?
We would be matching as closely as we could the existing gutters on the house.
Well, these old houses normally have half-round gutters, and so if your house had replacement shutters, that's not necessarily the right gutter for the house. So that would be my first point. They probably should be half-round, even if your other gutters are not. And as far as the porch goes, I see no problem with the porch either, except the details. These houses would not have had 4x4 posts. and they would not have rails like on the front of your house. The rails on the front of your house obviously are not original and they're not appropriate for that house. Even though they're there now, of course, they were put up probably before this commission. But you'd have to have a more substantial rail, and we'd have to know what the style of the rail is. A porch like this would either have columns and brick piers, or they could be block piers stuccoed. But they would not be like 6x6 posts and things like that. Now, if you want to see a porch that was put on the rear of a house, I can give you an example right in your neighborhood, and you could take a look at that. Although that porch might be a little too elaborate for this house, but what you're proposing is just too contemporary, too standard, I should say, is the word, that you would see on a new house, and this needs to have a little more detail.
Okay, so you would want to see either the brick piers or stucco columns, correct?
Yeah, if you want to, the address of the house is 205 F Street. If you go behind the house, you can see the front of the house has a very elaborate porch. The back of the house is more simplified. But it still has, and again, the front of the house has brick piers, the back of the house has stucco piers. Excuse me? And it has columns as opposed to 4x4 posts. And I know you want to screen yours. Is that correct? Is this a screen porch?
Correct.
Yeah, because
so the house at 205 F Street, you'd have to go behind F Street on G Street to see it. But and you can see it from G Street. But your house, and again, that house is viewed. 205 F Street is viewed from, you can see it from two streets. So all sides of the house had to be done properly, just, and just like you can see your house from two streets. So now that 205 F Street has round columns, you could put square columns on your house so you could better fit the screens. And when I say columns, they don't have to be wood. We accept composite columns, but a column that's a little more substantial, like a 6x6 or an 8x8 column, probably on this house, depending on the height of the porch. See, we don't know any of these details. We don't know what the floor to ceiling height is. So those things determine the size of the columns. For instance, the house I'm talking about, I think the ceiling height is 10 feet. So the columns were, I think, 12 inches wide. Now, depending on what the height of your floor to ceiling is, that would determine the thickness or the width of your columns. So all this has to be brought in front of us, and a pretty detailed description of this, or a pretty detailed drawing would be appropriate for this. So because it is, again, as you know, you're right across the street from Point of Honor, so you're in a very prominent location, and it's a nice house, and we don't want to have a contemporary, the word I would use is, spindly little porch put on there, and that's kind of what it looks like from this drawing. So, you got to be a little more specific on your details. The porch itself, I don't think it's an issue. The way you have your stairs setting in, very good. So you don't have a bunch of stairs sticking out from the house. All that's fine. I don't see any issue with the layouts. It's just the materials, the heights. We just need more detail. But other than that, I think we can work all that out, and you can get your porch built. We're not, but we got to see a little more than just what we have here.
Okay.
Is that okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And I'll be happy to help you. I'm in the neighborhood. I'm the advocate for your neighborhood. I'd be more than happy to help you.
And your name, sir, is?
It's Richard Morris.
And Richard, how do I get with you?
205 F Street. The house I just gave you.
Oh, I see. Okay, I got it.
But they, just call Victoria. I'm just kidding. Call Victoria and she'll, she'll give you all the information for me.
Oh, I appreciate that. It's always nice to
You're welcome.
learn something here. So my question is, we have to then have this to Victoria and wait for the next meeting, or can this be done outside of the meeting?
I think you'd have to have another meeting for this one. I mean, I guess, Victoria, what do? We put this on a hold for, so they don't have to reapply again, right?
Mm-hmm. 1 second. Yeah, that's correct. You can vote to postpone and they can provide me with the materials requested. Let's see, for the March 15th meeting, they would need to get me some materials by the 4th, March 4th. And that would compile it. They don't have to reapply, and then we'd bring it in front of you again.
Okay.
So I make a motion that we table this until the next meeting for further details.
Okay.
Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, do any commissioners or the applicant have any questions regarding what is to be submitted for the next
Well,
meeting?
I'm a little bit at sea when it comes to the ratio of the height of the porch to the size of the columns, and where can I find information about that?
I can give you all that information.
Okay. Would you be available tomorrow if I called you?
Tomorrow I have to be in Danville, unfortunately. And I might, if you want to call me today, I'll give you my schedule. Victoria can give you my number and you can give me a call.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. So I guess we'll roll call vote for all those in favor of tabling until the next meeting based or pending submittal of more detailed information as requested.
Commissioner Iguiaga.
Aye.
Commissioner Horner.
Aye.
Commissioner Langseth.
Aye.
Commissioner McSwain.
Aye.
Commissioner Morris.
Aye.
Commissioner Spencer Hester.
Oh, she was muted.
Aye, you saw my mouth moving?
Yes. All right, excellent. Well, thank you all so very much for that, and hopefully we'll have have no trouble getting the rest of that information. You all get together with Commissioner Morris and have a look at that, the details on that, and get the project off and running.
All right, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. We appreciate your time today.
All right, Bob, I will be calling you right now too.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye.
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 Okay, let's see. Next up, we can go on to 1306 Madison Street.
Give me one moment. The petitioners gave me an email saying that they need this link resent to them. So let me figure out how to finagle that.
Sounds great.
Okay, it's been resent.
Have you seen them log in yet, Victoria?
Not yet.
Okay.
So the next one hasn't logged in? What do you do in a case like that?
Well, we can move forward and review the item if you wish. This is one that you have seen before several months ago, maybe almost close to a year. No, not that far. But they have provided additional information from what you since you last reviewed it.
Okay.
Sorry.
It just does look familiar, but, okay, I mean, do we want to, so we can go forward with it, or just?
We can. They sent her a message and said they just needed the new links, so they're there. They're just trying to get connected to it. We can proceed discussion if you like.
All right, I'm admitting them just right now. They are now admitted.
Excellent. I see Mr. Keenan there. Very good.
Hello.
Welcome
Sorry,
back.
my confusion.
That's quite all right.
Victoria sent me, or I didn't check Victoria's emails.
Okay, so we're reviewing submittal of new information, more detailed information regarding your project, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Do you want me to speak in this period?
Please, sir. Yes, please do.
Yeah, okay. So what happened last time was we had difficulties with audio. You could not hear me, so you had to go forward and make your recommendations without input from myself. So I got to you eventually, and you'd already. But the request that you had for some information, I just want to explain that the rails and the request for information on the rails and the soffits, those are existing. So I can show you what those look like, but there wasn't a plan to do a different one than it is currently there. And so the very last, you have, yes, that's correct. That's correct. What you can see if you look there is it is exact same footprint, except where the walkway in front of it is being extended a bit because we need a place to put the plants. So that's all that is, and that's just an extension of the walkway. Mm-hmm. And the rail, now that you have a walkway in front of it, you wouldn't need a rail at that location. You would have the rail on the walkway, where it's above the height above the ground that's required. So there'd be a need for actually less rail. Oh no, actually it'd be located in a slightly different location on that trapezoidal portion that you could see at the top. The other thing that the other question that you had last time was the roof line, and you can actually see the roof line on that last drawing and on this one. It just runs from the corner of the house to the corner where it's extended out. Mm-hmm. And what we would do, that roof on that side, which is an addition, is, what do you call that? Not tile, what's the word you use for roof with a tar backing? What's the word? I always lose that word. So we have that rather inexpensive, what we're wanting to do anyway is it's getting to the end of its life, so we would actually replace the roof with tin, which is already on the upper part of the house, and then we would just run the tin all the way around, as you can see, so it would be a continuous roof and look a lot better. And the tin on the upper at the back, as you can see in this picture, is red, so we'll go with red for this. And we would probably get Allphase to do that. They're doing work for us on another property right now in the historic district, 1324 Church. So,
Can we go? I'm sorry.
no, that's good. I think I've said enough. I think it's your turn.
Okay. Can you go back to the picture of the house, Victoria?
Yes.
That one. So this rail, this is not, where we see this rail here, is that where the existing porch is going?
Yes, what you're looking at is the existing porch, and in front of it, you can see a walkway, which is just an approach.
That's going to extend out, correct?
So we would just extend that out to the walkway to use as for the plants. We have a lot of plants there, and we like to keep those. And so we would use this front piece for plants. But we would have to put the rail, we'd have to move that rail out in front of this piece right in front of you here. I don't know.
And so the porch, the screen porch itself would have no rail, correct?
Well, it would have a rail. Yes, it would have a rail in its entirety. It wouldn't have the vertical rails. So I'm saying it's going to have the horizontal rail in there, but it won't have these vertical ones.
Okay.
It would have them only where the structural members are, vertically.
So what are you using? We just kind of had this conversation in our last submittal here, where someone was adding a porch, and I'm going to ask you the same questions. Basically, what are the posts, and what does the rail look like?
Well, the posts that are there now are.
No, I mean the posts that are going to support the roof.
Oh yeah, those will be engineered posts. We might have to replace the posts there because they are 4x4s, and what I've been told is they're going to have to be 6x6s. So there would be 6x6 treated wood.
Yeah, see that kind of material, it really isn't appropriate for these older houses. They would have had a column. This is what we just had this discussion in the last meeting, and in this particular case, what we do allow is composite columns. But in your particular case, they could be square. They could either be 6 inches or maybe 8 inches, but the width of the column has to be proportionate to the height of the porch. And see, these are the details that we need for this.
This is on the back of the house too, isn't it? So do you need that on the back of the house?
Yes. Yeah, because the materials you're using are just they're just contemporary decking materials that you'd see on any house. So this, historic house has to be a little more accurate. Now, at the columns, once you get the columns up, you can screen it with 2x4s because that's what they would do back then anyway. The screening doesn't have to be fancy or anything like that, but the columns have to be a little more substantial than your 6x6 post. Because they never would have had something like that on a house like this.
Well, this is an existing structure, so now you're wanting a new structure.
No, you're adding a new structure, aren't you? The screen porch. Am I wrong?
No, the footprint is identical. It is an existing, built in 1977, being reviewed by the historic committee back then. I think after the fact, because.
But you're adding a porch now.
I'm putting a roof on it. Yes.
Well, yeah.
The roof consists of a roof.
Structure has to be held.
A rail, whatever. So That's my take on it.
Sorry, there were several people talking, so I didn't get any of you. Sorry.
Since the roof structure is new, the material that's holding it up will be under more, it'll be under more review, which is why Commissioner Morris is recommending the use of that, the more substantial column, as opposed to just a bare 6x6 even.
What are we talking about? I mean, is it going to have to be circular? Are you kind of looking for something that is, I mean, even the front of our house is not circular, it's square.
Correct.
Everything is square.
Right, he made mention of that, the columns, when we say column, it's the vertical element, it doesn't have to be rounded, no.
Oh, okay. And, okay, so we were gonna have it square anyway. What we were planning to do was have something that would be treated wood so that it would withstand the weather. Is the objection to the look of the treated wood, or if we could get a wood that is does the same purpose? I'm not clear yet because I don't build here. I'm really from the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess a composite column is more of a cementitious fabric, and they certainly would not rot or decay in any way in the weather here. So, and that's why we allow that for that very reason, because most of the houses here have wooden columns. But we allow in the back of the house, we do allow we allow it in the front too in some instances. So
the cement, sorry.
Yeah, it's called composite, but you can buy them anywhere. You can buy them at Lowe's, Home Depot. They're available. But I guess one of the points is that the drawing you gave us is so generic that there's nothing listed on there as what materials they are, how this is going to be constructed, what your rail is going to look like, what the height is. We just need more detailed drawings of this I would need it provided to make a judgment on what you're doing here.
Could you hold on for 1 second, please?
Sure.
Sorry, I need to step out for a sec. Hold on. I'll be right back.
You guys can step in. You don't have to agree with me, by the way.
I agree with you. The other point is too, Rick, is that he's got the round, the gutters and all that you talked about in the last meeting. You can see this rounded gutter on the side of the building, the side of the house. Can you hear? Can I mute it?
The right ones are the wrong ones.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, let's
Sally?
wait until the petitioner returns to continue conversation.
Oh, are you there?
Yeah, we see you.
Okay. So Sally, they're concerned about the back. And because they're putting a roof on it, they want some requirements around the columns.
Well, I've been thinking maybe columns like our front porch.
Yeah, and those are wood, but I guess we need to get clear. Are you allowing wood columns?
We would allow wood columns, yes.
Yes.
Okay. If I pull this out.
A column, not a 4x4 or a 6x6 post. There's a difference.
Okay. But what you're saying is you need more details from us at this time in order to go forward.
Yes.
You need more details on, can you just go through it one more time with me? You need more details on where the columns are and what the configuration of the rail is like.
I think one simple drawing would do the trick. If you had what they call a section, a cut section through this porch, which would show us the beam size, would show us the column heights, the roof heights, where the decking is, and you could label everything on that section.
Okay.
And you could say what the flooring is, what the columns are, what the construction of the rail is. In other words, what does the top rail consist of? What are the pickets? Are the pickets 2x2s? What are they? How far are they spaced apart? What's the bottom rail? We need all those details to determine, if this is compatible, or if this would meet the guidelines, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Do you understand? I mean, do you know what a section is? Do you understand
I do.
what I'm saying with that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I didn't know you guys needed that much detail.
Yes, on something like this. We would. Now, your decking, we don't need any details on your deck. If you're leaving the deck the way it is and it's there, what we need is from the deck up. And I understand, I understand it's going to be the same pitch and the same length as the existing roof, that existing structure, how and you show that on that little rendering there. I understand all that. I don't have an issue with that. So it's basically the details below that, how that screen porch is going to all be put together.
Okay.
Is there,
If you just draw if you just a simple section through that would do it.
is there
Okay.
a gutter system that's being installed on this roof as well?
Yeah, we don't have a gutter on the existing section. But we will take some of the water from up above, across, this. But we weren't planning to put gutters onto this particular one because it's not there now.
So if you do want to put gutters, or if you want to get that approved for gutters for future, this is the time to do it. And, again, you can put that on your section. You can, the type of gutter and the size of the gutter, if it's going to be a 5-inch, 6-inch, half round, usually half rounds we approve. So if you want to get an approval, that'd be an easy one to get. But you might want to put that on the drawing anyway, on that section, just so in the future you may decide you need a gutter on there and you already have it approved. But you don't have to, just a suggestion.
All right. Okay, so I'll just try and remember all of that, but you wanted on the section.
Yeah. And then, same thing, you can cut that section right through the new deck, show us what the new deck is going to be. And the rail, if you're going to use the existing rail, if you're going to move that existing rail over. I don't know, maybe someone else can have an input on that. He's using the same rail, but he's removing it. I think once you remove a rail, and you can't necessarily put it somewhere else because it's that rail that's on there is not appropriate for the house to begin with. So maybe we need some other input on that from the commissioners.
Well, I guess the only question I have about that is how much detail or how historic do you want the back of the building to be? This is the back of the building.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's the back or the front, really.
I thought it did.
We kind of look at the whole. We look at all 4 sides or 6 sides. How many sides we have? I believe that's correct. Am I correct in that, Victoria?
Yeah. So on the front of this house, it looks like he has turned rail system with a top rail and a bottom rail.
Is there a picture of the front of the house?
I went online and saw it, found it. Right.
Yeah, that rail system that is on the front of the house, we have to go find that and put it
Well,
on.
we're not, I don't think she's not saying you have to reproduce that.
No.
But what she's saying is that, you know, you have some sort of precedent of what's on the house now. The back of the house does not have to match the front. We're not saying that. But it should be consistent somehow. You know, it can be consistent in size or style, whatever, but there has to be something that ties the rest of the house together with what you're doing in the back. And I really can't comment too much on it because I don't know what the front looks like.
Well, I guess we're going to have to submit pictures of the front.
But you do have an advocate in your neighborhood, and they can assist you.
But didn't our advocate change? I think it's a new person.
Who's the advocate? Does anybody know?
Victoria would know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall off the top of my head.
Diamond Hill, right?
It's Diamond Hill, but I thought the person just left and it was a change.
Nope. No, your advocate is still Commissioner McSwain, and I'm looking to pull up pictures of the house right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, so it's becoming more of a question of consistency of materials rather than just a free-for-all of modern pressure-treated building materials being thrown to the back of the building.
And you know what I can do in this particular case, Chris, is I can PDF you a typical section of a porch.
Oh, sure.
And you know what I'll send you, of course, is going to, you know, it's going to be from me as an architect, so it's going to be much more detailed than what we don't require something as detailed as what I'm going to send Chris, but at least he can show the owner, you know, what we're looking with Terry, I guess. Sorry.
Sure.
We can show Terry what we're, you know, kind of what we're looking for. Does that sound okay with you, sir?
Yeah. The impression I'm getting is we're going to have to meet again and look at all of this stuff one more time, and we need more information, and we'll go from there.
Yes.
Mr. Keenan, I'll send you a list of what was discussed here and what they talked about.
Well, thank you, Victoria.
You'll get your porch. You'll get it. You just got to get to the right.
Well, you know, it gets difficult because the value of the houses here are not very high.
No, but
the cost of construction.
What I'm asking for here is not really. I'm not asking for anything out of sight. I'm not asking you to duplicate your front porch or anything like that.
I know.
They're just the details. Yes,
It
column
didn't seem
is
that
going
way
to cost
to
a
us
little more
either.
than you know. The column will cost a little more than the post, but that's really the main thing. That and the rail is what we're talking about here. So we'll get there. It won't. The price of being in it.
The one estimate from someone was if they had to replace it because it's rotted, because it's 20 years old, then it would be like $94,000. And I'm like, whoa. So
Well, you're talking to the wrong guy then.
that's what I thought.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we table this till the next meeting, give Terry a chance to perhaps talk with his advocate and work out a few more details.
Second.
Okay, before we turn that over real quick, is any other questions, comments, or concerns from commissioners or the applicant? Did anyone else have any feedback?
What about the door that's going, is there a door on the screen porch? I seem like
Yes, there's a screen door.
it's just
sorry, I can't hear.
I was just asking if there was a screen door on the porch, and do you have an idea of what type of door you're going to use on the screen on the porch?
No, we hadn't thought too much about it. It wouldn't be very complicated. It would have to be substantial.
Would it be a wood screen porch? I mean, wood
yes.
screen door?
Yeah, everything is planned to be wood, yes, at this time.
Okay. Any other feedback, questions? Okay, we can go ahead and call for a vote to, on the motion.
Commissioner Erguiaga,
Aye.
Commissioner Horner,
Aye.
Commissioner Langseth,
Aye.
Commissioner McSwain,
Aye?
Commissioner Morris,
Aye.
Commissioner Spencer Hester.
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Keenan, we thank you for that. We will definitely work our way through this so that we can get you started.
That's okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye, take care.
Thank you.
Let's see, doesn't look like we have any other new business. We have a meeting that would be on March 15th, which will revisit a couple of the items on here. Does anyone else have anything to add before we adjourn?
Nope.
None? Okay, well, thank you everybody for their time as always, and be safe out there, and we'll see you around.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, stay dry.
Bye.